Morning, morning, everybody. How's it going? How you doing? Happy Wednesday. I'm glad you guys are liking the new music. It's the same artist that I've been playing for a while, but I found their YouTube music playlist. It's so cheery. I love it. I was hoping this morning to be live at 10, which was an hour and 13 minutes ago. However, like a 13-year-old, I was up way too late finishing my book. So, slept right through that alarm, all the way through it. So we're gonna get through what we can get through today, and that will be that. Oh, I wish that I had like some super, let me look it up. Some super smart, wise, fancy book, but I didn't. I'll give you the name of it. Just have to remember. What was it called? Like I was saying yesterday, I burn through books so quickly, it's hard to keep track. This is what I was reading. Yes, Government Tax Reform for Dummies. That's definitely what it was. Come on, it can work, Link. Did that work? Yeah. Just a cute, silly, happy book. You know, sometimes you need a bit of a break, and I burned through this book so fast. I read the entire thing from like, I don't know, 11 to 2 in the morning. Sometimes I do need fluff, and you know, I had spent the rest of my evening doing research for today's live, and I was like, you know what, I think I need a break. Anyway, let us say our good mornings, because we've got quite a few people here, which is exciting. Good morning, Ash, and hello for your first time locked X. Welcome to the stream. And we've got Laurel and Nick and Morgan. Thank you for the letting me know. I definitely fixed that. Neuropunk and Moose and Potato Mage. And PN for Dune this morning. Good morning. And H. Glad that we could provide some audio for your ears. Good morning, Dr. Bad Strings. Would not recommend using a spoon for cutting. And H! Good morning. 2 in the afternoon on the East Coast. Yeah, it's 11:16 a.m. here. Ah, so I was on time for you then, Neuropunk. Perfect. My goal was to be live at 10. We've got no question period and no other sort of House of Commons live this week. So most of the stuff is just going to be, yeah, other news that doesn't involve federal politics for the day, you know? Something a little different. There's always a time zone where you're on time. Exactly. I don't either, Potato Mage. I don't either. Yeah, me too. I've got one story that I'm sure you've all heard already. And then we'll kind of do some positive-ish stuff. Yeah. How are you guys? I've got a kiddo home today, again. She was up at 7 this morning, running into our room being like, I'm ready for school, and then proceeded to hack up a lung. So she's at home. Abby's home for about another hour and a bit, so we'll see. My being live time is entirely dependent on how kiddo's doing, as per the usual. Tummy upset? Boo. You're exhausted? Oh. Well, we'll keep the vibes more chill this morning. If we can. Ready for the weekend? You got anything special going on, Potato Mage? Mostly sleep. Hey, that sounds like a great weekend. You're well rested, it feels weird. I am too. I just not on the timeline I wanted to be awake. I had a great sleep. It's just too late. Currently fighting a cold. Me too. Kiddo's got a bad cold, and this morning I'm waking up and I'm like, so hopefully that doesn't last long. I had yesterday off, so it's the second Monday. Yeah, Kiddo had Monday, Tuesday off. Bobby only had yesterday off, so it does feel a little bit like a second Monday. Good afternoon, Olafin. Glad to see you here. Yeah, friends, lots of vitamin C. Take care of yourselves, lots of water. It is cold and flu season. Unfortunately. Load up our first story here. Fluids and rest, yes. Do not need to earn your rest. Rest is part of work. It's part of continuing on. I hate the latest news story. Yeah, that's our first story this morning. Unfortunately. Political party. Oh, that's loud. Thank you. Okay, that's one more link, and then we will quickly chat through the measles. And then we'll move on to something less depressing and awful. You know, like anything else. Need stew with lots of garlic and onion. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Is that like your quick cure-all whenever you're sick? It's nice to have those. Alright, let's turn down the happy, cheery music. Garlic was your uncle's cure for everything. Yeah. Oh, hey, it's me. Whoops. Canadian indie music. Ooh, let's like figure out what screen I'm supposed to be. Nothing an obscene amount of garlic can't cure. Good to know. What indie music would I recommend? I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. What I do fairly often is I will go onto YouTube and I will find whatever playlist looks like it doesn't use AI to create the music and go through that. Best cure for being sick, caffeine. You'll either get way worse or super fast. And also my music taste, I listen to a lot of stuff from like 10 years ago. I haven't updated my music taste in a while, so if you do have any good recommendations for indie music, I would love to hear them. Alright, we're gonna hope my voice lasts. Our first wonderful, super happy story for today is that we have officially lost our status. Oh, there we go. We've officially lost our measles elimination status, which is fantastic. I'm gonna get a little bit of in the background here. Okay. Officially, as of 2 days ago, the Public Health Agency of Canada. Yeah, kinda, Morgan. The measles vaccine is the best way to protect you and your family by staying vigilant. Canada is currently experiencing a large multi-jurisdictional outbreak of measles that began in October 2024. Transmission has slowed recently, but the outbreak persists for over 12 months, primarily in under-vaccinated communities. The Pan American Health Organization has informed that Canada no longer holds the measles elimination status. Oh, it's so awful. Health ministers from across the country were briefed on the status of measles and committed to continuing to work together. Ministers also acknowledged the importance of health security to protect Canada against public health threats. Yeah. Measles. When I was a young boy. Yeah. That is not what I wanted. We want... This is recent. Oh, here we go. Yeah, Neuropunk. Yeah. So here are the number of cases reported in Canada about year of rash onset. So 2,207. We had a little bit more in 2011. And all of a sudden in 2025, 4,799. That is a huge jump. A huge jump. Like, number of confirmed cases. 17, 200, this is a higher one. And the jump from 147 to 5,000 kills me a little bit. Like, ugh. Awful. Specifically, those of us who live in Alberta, Alberta accounts for 38% of those measles cases. 38%. A former chief medical officer says the provincial government should be embarrassed by the role that Alberta has played, which, yes. Elder emos unite. Yeah, New Brunswick is bad too. While transmission has been slowing, the province is not in the clear yet. This is a wake-up call. It's a collective failure at many levels of government, public health, and the healthcare system to address what we saw as a declining rate of vaccination over many years that got much worse. Ontario has the most overall cases this year. Alberta had the highest per population rate. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Olafin, it's like I do what I can to keep my kid home when she's sick, and she's up to date on her vaccines, and we mask when we're sick or when we're going to be seeing people that are more immunocompromised. And sometimes it feels like it doesn't matter, especially in Alberta where, we can do all those things, but if the majority of the population isn't going to, I don't know. Obviously, we're going to continue doing what we're doing. But it is a little bit defeating. Particularly when we have a premier who feeds into the misinformation. It's awful. Alberta also had its first measles death since the outbreak, a premature baby. I think if we had gotten on top of it a bit sooner, maybe we could have stopped the spread or reduced it. Alberta government says there's been a drop, because of course they have. Yeah, Ash, exactly. They have not had to deal with measles because vaccines were very effective, and we've had the elimination status for decades now. So yeah, it doesn't feel like it's that serious, and it doesn't feel like we really need to worry about it. But that's because vaccines. When do we start suing these social media platforms into oblivion for endangering citizens? Seriously. I just... yeah. Yeah, there should be Dr. Badstrings. I think particularly if you are a person with any sort of platform or any sort of authority, there should be way higher consequences for spreading misinformation. Like, you know, when they do debates and they have people sitting there being like, that's not factual. There should be someone standing there every time they speak being like, actually, that's not true. Actually, that's a load of garbage. Yeah, there's an uptake in the South Zone, which makes sense, and the North Zone, which makes sense. Same about polio. Oh, I know. No sane person would consider them legit news. Yep. Dr. Natasha Crowfoot, Vice President of the Infectious Disease and Vaccination Programs, said it's a sad day for Canada. She's confident the country can regain its measles elimination status. We can get unlucky again. It's not rocket science. Top agrees it's possible, but it will take a couple of years. Years to get this elimination status back. She'd like the province to offer vaccines in more places where Albertans can access healthcare, such as hospital clinics. Pharmacies could also offer more vaccines. That is the other thing in Alberta. You have to book. Like, you can't just go to your family doctor and get your vaccines here. You have to go to specific clinics. And the pharmacies now can do some, but not a lot. Causes a negative feedback loop. People who don't believe in... Yeah, will get sick, get others sick, burden the healthcare system. Yep. Absolutely. Healthcare workers have to put up with abuse from these types as well. Yep. Yeah. We used to get vaccinated in school. Yeah, I was homeschooled, but we still went and got our vaccines every year. My siblings got vaccinated every year in school, and they were in a private Christian school. So, like, it didn't used to be like this. Yeah, bad strings, exactly. Should also like to see more efforts to engage vaccine-hesitant communities and build trust, because they have lost it. Yeah, so we can get our flu shots here. Basically anywhere, like grocery stores and stuff. But I mean, now we have to pay for our COVID vaccines, and in order to get your children vaccinated, you have to go to a specific clinic. Yeah. Not cool. Let's... Oh, look, it's the same article. I'm going to play... It's from CTV News. Let's watch this through for a minute. Ooh, I will even let you guys hear it.
Is continuing to cause concern as the province now has more confirmed cases than the entire United States. Joining us this morning is Dr. Lenora Saxinger, infectious disease specialist with the University of Alberta. Good morning.
Good morning.
So the numbers are startling, but it's widely believed by experts that case counts are actually higher than the confirmed numbers reflect. Do you think we're actually dealing with more cases in the province than the numbers show?
I think that it's very highly likely that we are. I mean, in the highly affected areas, there's a lot of smaller communities. And although we know a lot of people are ill enough to present for medical care, not everyone gets ill enough to present for medical care. And so there's a high suspicion that, especially in some kind of very more insular communities, that there's a lot more cases than are coming forward for testing. And, colleagues who are working in these hospital sites really do think that there's more cases going on.
And it's summer camp season. Many kids will be out in large groups. Are you worried things could get worse, especially as this new school year gets going and just...
So this is already 3 months ago that they were worried about that. And sure enough, hey, Blue Terry Teddy. Before the new rules, we could go to certain pharmacies and get your flu and COVID. Yep. And not only that, but I believe you have to book your vaccines for next year as well. Yep. Sure was, Dr. Badstrings. And we have massive outbreaks of whooping cough here every year too. When Kiddo was born, she was a NICU baby, and we had to really limit the number of people that could see her because there was a massive whooping cough outbreak. There is all the time.
On this Monday night, Canada no longer considered measles free.
We're a little bit saddened by the news, not unexpected news.
What doctors say now needs to happen. The BBC embroiled in controversy why 2 bosses quit and why the U.S. president is threatening to sue. And Canada has now officially lost its measles elimination status. Outbreaks have been happening in under-vaccinated...
Healthcare statistics are shown in peak like been slower and less quality. Yeah. Overburdened hospitals will cause people who are not seen as healthy to have increased complications. Yep.
Vaccinated and unvaccinated communities in multiple provinces. There have been more than 5,000 cases reported across this country in 2025. The majority are in Alberta and Ontario. 2 infants have died in those provinces. They were exposed to measles in the womb and born prematurely. Taria Isri explains the resurgence of this highly contagious virus and why it matters.
It's a club no country wants to be a part of.
We're on a list of countries that are torn apart by war or civil unrest, and it's really shocking that a country like Canada is on that list.
After having the illness under control since 1998, Canada is no longer considered measles-free.
Clearly, we're disappointed.
Are we back? Are you here? Ugh, that's so frustrating. Are we back, friends? Hello. You're here. Okay, I think it was just a little blip. Okay. Ugh. Yay, OBS. You're here. Okay.
Has been reestablished in Canada.
Yes, the Twitch just died. It's actually not Twitch, it's Restream, and I was hoping that I had fixed it. Dr. Bad here. Hello. Hey, Guernsey. I didn't realize the BC's reminder system was all that unique. Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. We here in Alberta had to pre-order our vaccines, and then they sent us a message when we could book for the appointments, and where we could pay for them. We should be back though, Paul, hopefully.
Nations that fail to stop the spread a year after an outbreak lose their status. It's a serious setback Canadian doctors warned was coming.
I would probably speak for most pediatricians that we're a little bit saddened by the news, not unexpected news.
While cases are dropping, Alberta is nearing 2,000 infections. That's more than what's been recorded in all of the United States.
The whole of the United States. We have more cases than the entirety of the United States.
Spread was really into particular communities that were vaccinated less than the general population. There's a coordinated, well-resourced disinformation campaign against specifically measles vaccination.
Good job! It may also be a symptom of the crisis in primary care, with 6.5 million Canadians without a family doctor.
The family doctor crisis.
That is another thing. Yeah, the US with RFK in charge, exactly. The other huge problem in Alberta is that we don't have enough family doctors. Let's just wiggle around in their arm rather than do it. Yeah, Olaf, I'm sure they're not like recording.
This has had a big impact in measles vaccination rates because childhood vaccines are administered in the context of the family doctor, not in pharmacies.
With infection,
Well, kind of. They're administered in nursing clinics, but
slowing, the Public Health Agency of Canada says it's confident the country will get its elimination status back. But health experts say it highlights the need for Canada to get in line with other G7 countries by launching a national vaccine registry. Donna?
All right, Turia Isri in Ottawa, thank you. Prime Minister Mark Carney.
we're going to watch this clip in a second just because it made me giggle. But you lost your family doctor because I was healthy. So my family doctor that I've had for forever, and she was my family doctor and my mom's and my grandma's and my sister's, and like, oh, she was so, and my husband's and my daughter's. She retired at the end of October, and they managed to get us in with another doctor, but that is not the norm here. We just barely, in the city that I lived in, we just barely started getting new family doctors, but there are close to 100,000 people just in the city that I live in that don't have family doctors. So if you think about the people that are coming, you know, they talk all the time about the immigrants that are coming in, and you know, the people that aren't informed about stuff like that too. That's a huge number of the population that has no idea about you know, yeah, it's 1 in 10 people. Yeah. Sorry, brain completely stopped. They come to Canada, they don't have access to any sort of health care, and you know, outside of the people that are actively, willingly choosing not to vaccinate themselves or their children, there's also people that are just completely misinformed because they don't have access to anything in the healthcare system in Alberta. A huge problem. Huge problem. So vaccinate your kids, vaccinate yourselves. That's a very, very easy solution that we have decided in the last 5 years is no longer important, which is awful. All right, I watched this video last night when I was getting ready for this live. Are you guys ready for a little giggle? Because Elizabeth May is hilarious.
He was in Atlantic Canada today, pitching the economic plans his government laid out in last week's federal budget. It's still unclear whether it has enough support from opposition parties to pass a confidence vote next week. Gillian Piper reports on the turmoil within the ranks of the Conservative Party and how it may leave an opportunity for the Greens and the NDP to have their say.
I am very happy to welcome the Prime Minister to New Brunswick.
Prime Minister Mark Carney stopping by the East Coast to speak with New Brunswick Premier Susan Holt about his economic plan.
We have a lot to discuss, as she just outlined, and it's in the context of a federal budget that is making generational investments.
But whether the funding actually flows for those investments is not certain, as the minority Liberals are still 2 votes shy of passing the budget. Both the Conservatives and the Bloc have signaled they will not vote in favour, but for the Greens.
A number of things are in the budget that were reinforced by the desires of both those parties. And there's other things that the government can do.
This I cannot vote for.
She literally threw it on the ground and stomped on it.
There's other things that the government can do.
This I cannot vote for.
After stomping on the budget last week, Green...
I just, like, of all of the things for her to do, I just think that's so funny. She, like, look at the grin on her face. She knows exactly what she did.
And there's other things that the government can do.
This I cannot vote for.
After stomping on the budget last week, Green Party leader Elizabeth May is now saying that she is still negotiating with the Prime Minister's office.
So
I'm
proud
not
of herself.
demanding everything Greens would want to see in this budget, but just enough of the minimum that I feel I can serve my constituents best by voting yes.
An interim NDP leader, Don Davies, says his caucus is still undecided and will meet on Wednesday to discuss how they will vote.
What a weird clip. Hey, look, can you pretend to be working really, really hard in your office, surrounded by as many successful things as you can? And with a framed picture of, brain. Jack Layton in the corner. Yeah, I don't know. I think May very much is in her own sort of space.
Davies says his caucus is still undecided and will meet on Wednesday to discuss how they will vote.
On confidence measures, the tradition in our party is that we vote as a bloc. And so I'm hoping that we'll get that consensus.
There were some partisan cracks last week. MP Chris d'Entremont crossed the floor from the Conservatives to the Liberals. Conservative MP Matt Genereux also announced he will resign in the spring, and there are some budget measures that target more Conservative ridings.
There are a couple projects in there that are in opposition benches that would perhaps compel someone to vote for the budget for their constituents in order to be able to move that forward.
Other MPs may be hesitant to cross the floor, Donna. D'Entremont has told...
Anyway, mostly I just wanted y'all to see our beloved Elizabeth May stomping, physically stomping on the budget. Oh, I love her so much. She's so awesome. I want to have enough don't give an F to be able to do stuff like that, because, man, she's so funny. Whoa, that was loud. I am very sorry. Yeah, so there's our not so great measles update. Yeah, who's gonna stop her, right? Like, what are they gonna do? Tell her she's not the leader of the Greens? Like, good luck. Oh, man. Bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, she's funny. All right. We are going to switch over and have a chit chat about Eve Zangler. Is Canada's Betty White? Yeah, kinda. Also, good morning, Fierce Tuskers. Eve Zangler has decided that he is going to actually enter into the NDP race. Hey, Alex, good morning. Montreal-based activist is applying to enter the NDP leadership months after announcing his intention to make a bid. Yeah, we'll see. He bills himself as an agitator. Makes sense. We believe that the members and the Canadian public more generally wants to hear this message. He's going through the vetting process to enter the race in time to take part in the first formal leadership debate scheduled for November 27. That is going to be the first debate. We have the resources. We want the NDP to vet us in, but also take the money so we can put forward our platform and our ideas. Eric Rebedeli, I'm really bad at pronouncing French words, I'm so sorry, said that donations cannot be accepted until a candidate formally enters the race. Which makes sense. Angler said he's following fundraising rules, which we have not really seen. He added he believes it should be up to NDP membership who's in the race, and they can decide what policies they like and dislike. Do you want to know what his latest complaint is about the NDP party? Dami was never vetted, so why should the NDP leader be? I would love to see a day where he's not complaining about something. Like, do the work. We know the system's broken. Like, really? Really? This was written, I believe, by Eves, although it could have been someone else on his team. Saran Mandami would likely have been blocked by the NDP's 3-person vetting committee. Yeah, just a little different, Ash, just like a tiny bit. Fortunately, the Democratic Party doesn't vet candidates seeking to participate in the mayoral primary. Maybe because it's a little different than a federal party. So ridiculous. There are many reasons to believe the NDP vetting committee would have blocked New York's mayor-elect from running. Yeah, he really does. Yeah, why doesn't he run for mayor? He has been accused of various misdeeds. Okay. The NDP vetting package requires candidates to list statements they've made, which may be considered politically controversial. He has been arrested on at least 3 occasions. No, we really shouldn't. Every time he opens his mouth, he's damaging his chances. You're absolutely right, Nick. I have been detained at dozens of protests, and I've spent between 1 and 5 days in jail on 3 occasions. I've never been convicted of a crime, although I've accepted various conditions. Unclear if any of the other NDP leadership candidates have been jailed in the struggle for justice. Nothing came up from a quick name search. Okay. If one agrees to the alternative vetting questionnaire my campaign released, our tongue-in-cheek questionnaire asked, have you been jailed for opposing... Okay, let's look at the alternative vetting thing that he made up. Oh, brother. Have you ever been accused about caring too much about social justice? Have you ever stood up to applaud someone who pledged allegiance to Adolf Hitler? You identify as a socialist only when the cameras are off. Does your family have a significant stake in the fossil fuel industry? Are you a landlord? That's what he wants the vetting process to be. Yeah. Have you ever been publicly attacked by multiple journalists in 1 week for telling uncomfortable truths? How many demonstrations have you attended in the last year? Have you ever said the word capitalism critically in a speech, campaign, or media appearance? Like, why? Why? I understand his point. I understand that he is very passionate about these things, but this type of stuff is not what's going to get the NDP back where they need to be. No. Have you or anyone in your family ever participated in an event sponsored by the apartheid state of Israel? Have you ever attended a trilateral commission conference? Are you a landlord? No, it really doesn't. Have you ever participated in a form of imperialism? Have you or anyone in your family ever been employed by a police agency? Like, what? Have you ever risked your reputation for peace, justice, or socialism? Do you own... Oh my word. Do you own an SUV? The F. If yes, please explain how many social movements it can fit inside. What? No. That's not how this works. Yeah, absolutely. I think the vetting I'm not saying the vetting system is perfect, but that's not the answer. It's just not. Yeah. Yeah, kinda. There's specific people he's going up against with that post. Absolutely. Far more concerned with, do you have ties with foreign nations that might compromise your focus on Canada? Yep. Or are you immediately willing to pursue security clearance? Those are very excellent questions, Olafin. I agree. I don't know. Okay, so he wants no interference from the federal, what the word he used? Sorry. Okay, but how do you elect someone to a federal party without interference from the federal office? How does that work? This whole approach is very, very unproductive. Absolutely. Yeah, his character will actively lose credibility. Absolutely. Absolutely. And staff. Yeah, he would, Ash. Do I agree with that final statement? Sure. This is not the way to do that. At all. They're really old posts. Alright, because he doesn't... I find his Twitter so hard to navigate. Because he posts so much, and his newer posts are like hidden down at the bottom somewhere for some reason. Anyway, Yves Engler, who desperately wants to run for leader of the NDP but does not want to follow any of the rules in order to get there. However, he has now officially, supposedly, applied. So we will see if that actually gets him somewhere or not. Or if he's just doing it so he can prove that they don't want him in there. Just loading up our next contestant. Yes, that's Tennille. You guys know me, only the most organized always. Yeah, they have to manufacture outrage so they feel like they've let him in. Yves Engler, it's so hard to say what he's for and against because he seems to constantly be complaining about everything. I believe so, but I don't know off the top of my head. Free education, food security, blah, blah. Why doesn't he just start his own party if he's so against the core structure? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Dr. Badstrings. There needs to be an overhaul of the NDP. Nobody is denying that, but I don't think that Yves Engler has the answers for that, to be quite frank. It was awful. The last few months of the campaign, he just gave up. They had such a strong chance to be able to pull in all sorts of votes, and he just completely gave up. A couple of Ave Lewis things. He has been all over the place. Ave Lewis. He's been on so many different people's social media things. He's been doing interviews. It's been actually quite impressive. He's been quite all over, but here's him and his wonderful wife, Naomi Klein. I don't think this is going to be that loud. Oh, you just missed it, Kevin. You just missed the trash talking Eve Zangler. Yeah. Yep, absolutely, Grinsey. I think there's a place for him in holding politicians to account. I don't know. He's got some really sketchy stuff behind him. Without getting groceries. Alright, I'm gonna play this. I don't know how loud it's gonna be, so just...
Where are you? Tell me.
I am at the Brooklyn Paramount, which is where the official watch party is. And we just got the results and the crowd went wild. And Zoran hasn't shown up yet, but he's going to show up soon. And when that happens, I'm going to hang up on you.
Yeah. I understand that one has to make tough choices in these tough times.
Yeah.
I think Ave Lewis talking about his wife and putting his wife into his campaign is definitely a smart move.
It's crawling with media and so many happy socialists and just people who worked so hard for this moment and are just I mean it's indescribable, you know. And what's so beautiful is that...
Bye, Laurel. Thanks for joining us this morning. Yeah, Sniper Panda.
I was just in an interview with an outlet that asked me, like, well, why did this happen? And I just think, really...
Oh, it's so hard to understand her.
Of New York. And every city and every town deserves this kind of a love letter, you know? And it's like, we love this place. It can be better. Let's make it better. But let's reject all the people trying to make us like hate our neighbors and hate our cities and fear each other. You know?
That's it.
So yeah. So
you wouldn't have you wouldn't have had a chance to notice this today, but we had the big federal budget today. And the Carney government, apart from like massive explosion of the Carney response to the affordability crisis, to the everyday emergency, is basically like a massive tax cut to help blow a hole in the budget. And yeah, there's housing spending, but like the bold idea that we've been putting forward, a public option for groceries, a public option for cell phones and those things that are breaking people's banks, breaking people's wallets. We're already hearing the pushback. And New York is the counterexample, but we're hearing like the bold ideas are impractical and only these smaller, more technical approaches are possible.
Yeah, she's great.
Did you feel in New York that this is where the path is? This is where success is on the left, is actually dealing with those very, very tangible things and going big, actually talking about solutions as big as the crises we face.
I mean, what's really fun about being here is everybody can do the chant. Free and fast buses. It's everybody, right? And also just the joy at the polls, you know, when we did some canvassing with Jewish Voice for Peace and just like outside of polling place, and people voted for Zoran and did it with so much joy. And they're high-fiving. I don't remember that kind of joy at any election of my lifetime, you know?
Oh, that's so valid. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to vote for someone out of joy and hope, rather than just, I guess this is the lesser of two evils?
That's what we should strive for. You should be so fucking excited about what all of this means, you know? Yeah, this is practical. This is practical. What is not practical is what Carney is doing. He's rolling out the red carpet for fascism, you know? Yeah. Like because corporate centrism is what produced this movie. And yeah, it's just so beautiful to see. It's so beautiful. You know, I keep saying to people, because I've given a few of these like canvas kickoffs, it's like, oh, there've been these evil fucking ads. They're so racist.
Oh. Yeah, there are two top choices, followed by Tennille. Absolutely. He also did an interview for the Tyee. Which I think I'm going to post. I think it's in the Discord. Yeah, Moose, that's fair. I have one election I was excited about my whole life. Yeah, that sucks. That is not the way that it should be. I've got a couple. Oops, not that one. Tennille Johnston. I have not heard if she has successfully raised money, but this was sort of the update from her.
Hey folks, Tennille here. I want to talk about why this campaign matters and why your support is the key to building real change in the NDP. I'm not backed by insiders or establishment interests. I'm genuinely here because I believe the party needs bold leadership, fresh energy, and ideas that actually move us forward. As a social worker, city councillor, and the first Indigenous woman running for federal NDP leadership, my whole career has been about fighting for equity and making space for people who've been left out. I know our party can do better, and I know we need to stand up for working people, bring in new voices, and make sure everyone feels welcome at our table. Right now, the leadership comes with
table mention. Different person, but table mention. There we go.
The heavy price tag, $100,000 entry fee, 25% in party taxes on top of every donation coming in, definitely doesn't make it easy for grassroots working class campaigns like ours to compete. We're proud to be.
So here's the thing. Yves Zangler is complaining about the way that the vetting process is because he wants special treatment. Tennille is genuinely going, the process is not right, but this is what we have to do. Steve had it over at the table, yeah. This is what we have to do, and we're going to fundraise so that we can be at the table.
Built from rural ridings across the country, but this kind of campaign, truly driven by those that are seeking their voice to be heard, rarely includes the benefits of big donors or high-profile invitations. It's powered by people like you who want action and not empty promises. I'm committed to cutting party membership fees so everyone can join. I want affordable and accessible housing, real health care that covers the whole person and reaches all Canadians, genuine climate action, and an NDP open to everyone. And that all takes courage and organizing, not playing it safe. The federal budget vote is on Tuesday, November 4th. If we end up in an election, the NDP needs to be ready to be a force for the working class.
Yves Zangler's got a serious case of main character syndrome. Yeah. He cannot contend with fighting the system while working within it. Absolutely. You know, there's a place for the kind of activism that Yves Zangler is well known for. It's just not this. And it feels icky. The more that he talks about it, it feels more icky.
Ready to harness the skills and expertise of our party members and incoming candidates. If you want a champion who isn't afraid to challenge the status quo, who brings real ideas and bold action, and who will build the movement our party needs, please donate today. Anything you can give helps our campaign. Gayla Kesla, thank you, and merci beaucoup.
No, it's not going to hit well with the normies. I'd love to watch a debate between Rob. I hope that Yves gets into the debate just so that, I don't know if I can watch him in the debate. But part of me does hope that he gets in there, if only so that he can get a little torn apart by the people who are actually working for change. One of the really, really cool things that is happening right now, and I know that people have said Rob Ashton has sort of disappeared. I found a couple of things that he's done, but one of the big things that he did is he sent out an email to the people that have nominated him and said, I believe the leadership race should represent the strength and diversity of our movement. That's why I'm encouraging folks to help my friend Tennille Johnston get on the ballot. Tennille brings experience, heart, and a powerful perspective that will make this a better, more grounded conversation for all of us. You can take a few minutes to sign her nomination papers. I'd be grateful. In solidarity, Rob. Love this. Love, love, love this. Lewis also donated to her campaign and urged his followers to do the same. It's a great example of lifting each other up, supporting each other, and shared prosperity, which is what the party is supposed to be about. Yeah. Wrong enough to know better. Yes, I do have that video. My only problem with doing that is I want him to get the views, so we'll talk about that in just a sec. But yeah, I saw this in the NDP Reddit, and I was like, oh yes, this is what we need. We need more working together. Yeah. Oh, yes, this was the other one. Ave Lewis went and talked to Frank Dominic as well.
People just want straight talk, and I think they deserve that from the left-wing party in Canada. Not everybody's going to agree with every single solution that I or the NDP puts out, but we have to provide a really clear alternative. I think there's been too much messaging and like message testing and focus grouping and thinking that if we just find the exact right words to make it sound pretty mainstream but make a little bit more progressive, that ain't working. If you want liberal lights, you'll just go to the Liberal Party eventually. We need to provide an actual alternative. I happen to believe, I'm a democratic socialist, and I happen to believe that these solutions...
Here we go. He's a democratic socialist. Love that.
...can actually work. And that's why I'm providing much more straightforward messaging than you generally hear in the political discourse. Also, because Frank, I'm really not good at like memorizing talking points and doing all that like weasel words.
I don't know how people do that. I don't know how politicians
believe these things.
I don't know either. I find it exhausting. I find it exhausting to follow them.
It's just yeah, and I think it's turning people off politics because people are smart. And people have access to incredible information. And people have access to platforms like yours where they're sharing information in plain talk and explaining the world to each other. And then politicians come along and repeat, in French they call it the cassette, the tape loop of the same talking points. And
yeah, like I said, he's been everywhere kind of, Ave Lewis, which is, I don't know, it's a really good sign that he's doing stuff like going on to TikTokers platforms and stuff, and he's coming to the people. I do like that. Rob Ashton has a couple of things that he's posted. Not a lot. But I found a couple. Every year we hear the same story. Rob Ashton led NDP would vote down this budget as tabled. It is the responsibility of the Liberals to work with the parties to pass a budget. This government has made its choice, so have I. Under my leadership, the NDP will fight to ensure. It's funny because it's possible. I'll put it that way. By and for the people who actually build this country every day, not billionaires. Good. On the 41st moments of the 1984 Sikh genocide. This November marks 41 years since the Sikh genocide. Days of organized state-sponsored violence in India that targeted Sikh men, women, and children. Oh, this is new. Every Canadian deserves the dignity of a good job, not a gig, not a side hustle, but real work that pays the bills, keeps the roof over head, and lets families live with security and pride. For too long, this country has worked for just the few at the top, where the people who actually build it are told to tighten their belts. Sorry, it's not working. There we go. No worries, Potato Mage. All good. Have a great day, friend. Rob Ashton's good job promise is a commitment to turn that around. His commitment's a job for everyone who wants one. If you're ready to work, there'll be a place for you. Building homes, building the infrastructure our communities need, caring for others, restoring our environment, or strengthening our communities. No being cast aside because the market says you don't fit. I would love a little bit more of an explanation on what that means exactly. Fair wages, strong standards. We'll raise the floor. These will be good union-backed jobs. Building the future. Every public dollar will come with strings attached. If a corporation takes public money, it must protect Canadian jobs and treat workers with respect. And a central bank that works for people. When working people have good jobs, everyone benefits. And when the ruling class calls that radical, it only proves we're on the right track. Fairly solid. Solid statements. But again, there's not a ton of Rob Ashton out in the world. However, I did find one. I just have to pull it up here. Hi, darling. I see you. Sorry, y'all. Just give me 1 second. Actually, you know what I think we're going to do? I'm going to take a quick couple-minute break and set up a couple more things that I want to cover for today. Go ahead and refill your drinks, take a stretch, and we'll be back in 5. Hello. There we go. Yes, salmon fry is correct. Do you guys want to see the potato protest? Because it was hilarious. Mashed potatoes. There's more than one way to peel a potato. Yep. Anyone need a potato?
From the back, what do we want? When do we want it?
They did, yeah.
That's right. Who are we?
Peeling 40 potatoes is harder than 20. Yes, those potatoes went to I believe they went to a shelter. Yeah, very funny, very awesome. Speaking of which, I am not going to have time to cover all the things that I wanted to today, but speaking of the teachers, I am going to, yeah, isn't that so fun? I love it. We're not going to listen to her actual podcast, but on her podcast on Saturday, she informed people that the way that they're going to fix the teacher shortage in Alberta, because that's quote unquote the main problem, is converting substitute teachers to classroom teachers. Lots of subs are retired teachers that stopped working full-time for a reason. You cannot just force substitute teachers to become full-time teachers. There's also a lot of part-time teachers for both the above reasons and because funding hasn't kept up with the enrollment. Yeah, exactly. The other things she suggested is that the rural, or not the rural, hey Ninja, is that the admin staff starts teachers. Oh my word, you guys, my words today. That the admin staff became teachers. That is her solution. She's hinting that districts are overloaded with curriculum people. Okay. Exactly. Unqualified teachers are necessary. That is the next step. Like I said again, we're not going to be able to go in and cover everything that she said in her interview, but it's just ridiculous. It just proves over and over again that she has no idea how schools run. However, there was a poll, a ledger poll of 1,000 people, found that 33% of those surveyed said using the notwithstanding clause was appropriate. However, very inappropriate was 40%. Oh yeah, I knew. Non-teachers are cheaper than teachers. Anyone can be a teacher. Yeah, exactly. Right? And you can't just say... Yeah, exactly, Morgan. Right. I'm not sure what the rules are in Alberta, but... wasn't there an idea floated that if they can't reduce the number of students, they increase the number of teachers per classrooms? There is a reaction to the statements they can't hire more teachers, no room for them. Sort of. I think one of the main things right now is hiring specifically more EAs for that type of situation that can help out with the, I don't like teach people things on the internet, that can help out with the more complex students. However, you are correct. Some of those students with complex needs need a separate space to go into. And right now, if the teachers are using things like the cafeteria and the gyms as classrooms, there's nowhere else to go. Yeah. Anyway, so we'll keep an eye on that. I believe Kiddo will be going to school tomorrow, and we'll do a longer live talking about Quebec and the whole doctor ridiculousness that's happening in Quebec right now. But I just wanted to show you guys, there was an appearance by Rob Ashen. However, it was 3 weeks ago, which is, too long ago.
I'm the president of the International Longshore Warehouse Union Canada and leadership candidate for the federal NDP.
Why you're running for the federal NDP?
Another office. I love a good protest, like a reasonable one. Yeah.
That's why I come here, the tyranny of clarity. I appreciate that, Salmon Fry.
And make sure that they hear your voice. And if they're doing good, yeah, tell them they're doing good. Right? But integrity, not in all politicians, but in quite a few of them, maybe integrity is the wrong word, but I think they're afraid to show that they're actually human beings, right? That they do make mistakes, that
line work with Navy League kids. Yeah.
I definitely
I know. I really like Rob Ashen as well. I think Ave Lewis has done a really great job of putting himself out there in the public. And Rob Ashen hasn't done as great of a job of that. But I am so looking forward to seeing him in the debate.
Will I make a mistake? I hope not. Will it happen? I'm 49 years old. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. So
He's 49?
It happen. But that's why you surround yourself with a good team. Because where I don't know stuff, I have a team that can advise me. And then I can educate myself on an issue. And then I can present that issue. And a lot of politicians don't do that. They just run and hide.
That's hard, 49, yeah.
You mentioned Pierre Poilievre. And
yeah, that's very true, Neuropunk. And I hope, again, it's November. Well, it's halfway through November. It would be nice for him to have come out with something at this point.
From my understanding, he's made great gains in working class communities, that they are seeing him as a voice for that. And I'll say that one of the interesting pieces is he's one of the only politicians I've heard that questions like our central banking system, and whether or not that actually works for the people or does not. He was one of the proponents of Bitcoin, acknowledging the fact that inflation was increasing and that
the lad looks young. He is.
For people to opt out of a system that inherently works against them, a hidden tax that pushes down on working class people. What is your read on him?
On Pierre
because
Poilievre.
he started to gain grounds in your area.
Oh, yeah, Pierre.
Yeah, absolutely, Morgan. He's been boots on the ground for a long time.
Did a hell of a sell job, or whoever his team behind him did a hell of a sell job. Pierre's been a politician for 20 years. I don't think he's drank out of a coffee pot in a lunchroom, on a shop floor, or anywhere for that matter, except maybe in Parliament Hill, maybe once for a photo op. And he likes to assign blame to people. When his party has been in power, is the only other party that's ever been in power in this country. So he can't go around blaming just the Liberals, because the Conservatives made just a hell of a mess as they've done. And what is sad to me is that this career politician, this 20-year politician, is getting away with it.
Oh.
But he's talking a good game. But he's got nothing to show for it.
Oh, I just realized I have him way turned down. So check your headphones. I'm gonna turn him up a little bit. Gonna be a little louder, just so you know.
Go in there and show battle scars. Right? Not at all. When we talk about the banking system, and I'm not huge on banks. I hate banks. I hate going to a bank machine and paying $4 or $5 to withdraw money. Is that $4 or $5 somebody might need for diapers for the kid? Or actually, they're probably more like $20 now. It's been a long time since I bought diapers.
I will check.
No telling me.
Okay.
I'll tell about the.
Kiddo got a mood ring like we all had in the 90s, and she's obsessed with figuring out how people feel. All right. What do I feel?
Oh.
Is it?
Feeling active.
I'm feeling active? Awesome. Thank you for checking. All right, I'll be done very soon, okay? You go play with Dad.
But they've been a part of the problem for the last 100 years by being okay with taking just a little bit more from working class Canadians. Yeah. just a little bit right here. I'm just going to take this little bit for the banks because, you know, they've only made $100 billion profit or whatever the number is. And they need a little bit more money. They won't. I'm running.
One of the other questions I had, and just to preface it, Mark Carney to me is a very interesting individual because we're told as Canadians the central bank and our government are separate. They don't talk to each other. They're completely independent of each other. And we have this individual in 2008 who leads us through. He's the governor of the Bank of Canada, and he's leading, Mr. Mark Carney. Now he's our Prime Minister. He's actually held both roles. Now, what are your thoughts on Prime Minister Mark Carney?
No.
That is a 1,000-yard stare of someone who's thinking really hard about his answer.
More hockey analogies because I'm sick of them. I think he's been Prime Minister in waiting for decades. You know, he went to Bank of Canada, went to Bank of England. He run, what is it called, Brooksfield or whatever the hell it is. He's been a prime minister in waiting forever. He's not a new politician. That guy's danced with the devil more times than anybody can know, right? That's what I mean, dealing with politicians. That's how I'm interpreting that. And so, yeah, he was groomed for this spot. You know, and this whole thing of, well, they had to beg me to run. Come on. I think everybody with half a brain knew that he was going to run. He was just waiting for the right time. This is his world. And you bet your donuts that he's dealing with the Bank of Canada because according to everybody that voted for him, he's the smartest person when it comes to finances in Canada. And yet we've got 7% unemployment rate for adults, and we got, 14% for young ones? That's not somebody that's smart. That's somebody that's dealing in this world for the ruling class, not for people, not for working Canadians, not for your average Joe. And so they don't mind doing good things for their people that have disabilities. When was the last time they got a raise? I think they live off, and I could be wrong on the number, they live off $1,600 a month.
Something like that, yeah.
Who the hell can live off $1,600 a month in this country? Yeah. I don't know one person. And yet they're treated like cattle. No, you just sit over there. We're giving you $1,600. You go live your life. Where are they going to live? On the street. That's what people like Carney and Poilievre and the rest of them do to people that deserve better. And as a society, they're starting to brainwash for us to think that it's okay, and it's not okay to treat other people like garbage. And that's what we have to remember is I think we have to bring the humanity back to politics. Because we're here to serve. Sorry, we have to serve our constituents. We're not here to serve corporations. We're not here to serve other governments. We're here to serve Canadians. And if that means we have to build a Canadian economy with Canadian jobs and Canadian industries, then God damn it, we have to do it.
20 minutes later, we hear the sound of a pressure washer cleaning from the ceiling. See, the fun thing about having a kid on the neurodivergent spectrum is that she's very neat. Like, it's very neat is probably not the right word. When she decides that she wants to paint something, she's very particular and very, careful. If you give her a bathroom and some soap and water, it will be flooded. Yes, yeah.
Because if we're not, we're going to continue to fail.
That was some emotion.
And God knows where this country's going to end up. until we change it.
This may not be the question you want to be asked, but what you just said...
That's scary.
Yeah, what you just said sounds like the America First movement going on in the US right now is a Canada First movement, and we've heard echoes of that. So do you differentiate yourself, or is there merit to that argument of we should be putting Canadians, like, I don't know if you just saw, but recently it just came out again that there was like $11 million going to some bizarro thing out in India for people we don't know. And we're giving away money to people, millions of dollars. And when we look at some of the things we're spending it on, Canadians are like, what the hell are we doing? Like, our own stuff isn't working. So is there a Canada First movement rising in the NDP?
I don't know if I'd classify it as Canada First. Like, definitely Canadian jobs, Canadian industries, 100%.
Hello, Playpower. How are you, friend?
I've always considered myself to live by what I desire for myself, I desire for others. And there's definitely countries out there that need a helping hand. 100% there is. And there's no shame in wanting to help somebody. There's no shame in wanting to help people of another country. It's because that's who we are. But I think people get angry about that because we don't have what we should have in this country here. We don't have jobs. You send somebody to college or university, they spend tens of thousands of dollars to go to university, plus tens of thousands of dollars possibly in credit card debt, paying for stuff to live. And they come out and there's no jobs for them. So that's an inherent problem. So I don't want to classify as Canada First. What I like to classify it as, and people will be saying, oh, you're still saying Canada First, but in a different way. Which, hell, I don't know, maybe I am. I want to create a Canadian economy that Canadians can support, so that when Canadians on a Friday night, they want to go out for a beer, they want to go watch a movie at a movie theater, they don't have to count their pocket change.
Love that. 11 million in help with foreign countries, a lot less than 70 million. Yeah, exactly, Blue Terry Teddy. A lot less. Until we tax the other rich, make it reasonably profitable. Yeah, I don't see stuff changing. Yeah, you're right.
They got enough money to do that. You want to go on a vacation, go on a vacation. Right? And an NDP government under me will understand that we have to have jobs, we have to have industries that can support themselves with other Canadian industries, as well as helping out people that are in need. Because as a Canadian, that's how I was raised. I was raised to put your hand out to help lift somebody up. Whether that is in pick a country, or it's that person down the road, or if you see that poor bugger that's down on his luck, go buy him some Timmies or give him $1.50 or $5 or whatever you got. That's my Canada.
Love that. This is a very different side of Rob Ashton than we've seen in a while. Very, like, calm and cool and passionate and emotional. I don't know, guys. I know he hasn't done a whole lot, but he's still the top runner for me right now.
Is we're not afraid to have a gentle side. That we understand the plight of people. But we have to make sure that we have good industries and good jobs so that we can afford to help other people.
You've had the opportunity to start meeting with, I imagine, a lot of different people from a lot of different walks of life. And I think one of the most important pieces that I get to hear about when I speak to politicians is what are they hearing? Because people share with you in the hopes that you'll be able to be in a position to make changes.
One more thing, just because I want to
I'd vote for Wob every day of the year.
What do you like about him?
Because there's no BS. straightforward.
Yeah,
He's proud of who he is, proud of where he come from, proud of Manitobans. He wants to do better for them.
I hope so.
He wants them healthy. He wants them to have jobs. What's not to like about the guy? And I love his videos when he's singing, and he's proud to sing at press conferences. Like, he's just friggin' awesome. Like, that's somebody that I look up to. And that's the type of leader that
the 27th of
I
November is
hope
the
to be
first one,
able
Dr.
to be
Gadsden.
like. Somebody that just does it because he loves everybody.
Thank you,
And he wants to lift them up. Mhm.
You've been commented on after some of the videos you've dropped as being very similar or having echoes of Jack Clayton. What does that mean to you?
Yeah. Get goosebumps.
Aww.
I guess I got them right now. I think Jack Clayton was very special. I think he was something that our country needed. And see what happened. I don't think...
His tone drowns mine out. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I have... I'll turn myself up just a tad.
I really don't think there'll ever be another Jack in this life. And
Yeah,
anybody
it is
that
Ninja.
says that they are the next Jack Clayton, not they're worth the time.
Love it.
When somebody mentions that to me, that, like, I had one person say that I had a soft face like Jack, that I carried myself like Jack, and then
A soft face like Jack? Ugh, you hear kiddos cough. Yeah, he's human. Like, that's what I mean. Like, we've seen him yell. And we've seen him be we've seen him be angry and passionate. However, this is a great side of him. Yeah, Sniper Panda, that's fair. That kind of live about that and some discussion.
all the comments on social media. I'll never be Jack Clayton. Nobody will ever be Jack Clayton. It's incredibly humbling because Jack did amazing things the short time that we had him. And if we had him for just a little bit longer, fuck, this country could have been so much better. So yeah, so when people say that, it's incredibly humbling. I thank them. And when I win leadership on March 29th, I really hope I don't do him a disservice.
Oh.
What are you fighting for?
Hi, Ayla. How are you, friend?
Man, Aaron, you're making me all upset now. Fucking guy. See, I'm not an angry person. I'm a passionate person.
I'm not an angry... Oh.
And I'm emotional. I blame my daughters.
I blame my daughters. Okay. I knew I loved Rob Ashton. Yeah. He's good people.
What am I fighting for? I'm fighting for people to be able to live in dignity. I'm fighting for Canadians. I'm fighting for Canadians to be able not to hate people because they're different. I'm fighting for Canadians to be understanding of each other. I'm fighting for Canadians to have a job, one job, that lets them live. And I'm fighting to get rid of the lies and the BS that happens in Ottawa so much. That's what I'm fighting for.
what's standing in your way? Can you walk us through the electoral process that you're about to fight through, how you're different than some of your comrades advocating for their role, and how do you reach that finish line?
So the structure that we're going through right now is, and it's a simple structure, is you have to raise a lot of money.
How much?
The initial buy-in is $100,000. But then you have to pay for your campaign after that. And it's $600,000 to $700,000 minimum to run a good cross-country campaign, so you actually get to as many places as you can and talk to as many people as you can. And that's one of the hardest parts for me personally, is saying, hey, Aaron, do you got $20 for me? Because I know what people's lives are like. A lot of people's lives are like, they don't have that $20. They don't have that $100. Most people definitely don't have the max $1,750. But I think the message to those people is that if they donate, I'll honor their money. I'll do the best I can for them, and I'll fight like hell for them. And the other part of it is signups. And so for, I think, every political party, but I'll talk about the NDP because that's the only party I know. I don't pay attention to the rest of them. Is you got to get people to sign membership cards, because it's only members of the party that are allowed to vote in the party election. And so we have to sign up tens of thousands of people before January 28th, I believe, so that they can vote in the election, right? Giving people their voice that they want to lead the party. And so, those are the two number one tasks right now, and goals, is to talk to people, meet people, and say, look, if you like me, help me represent you. Are you a member of the NDP? Yeah. Thank you. I hope you can support me. And can you kick me a little bit of cash? And if they're not a member of the party, would you mind signing up to the party and supporting me that way to vote for me?
Yeah, he really did fail hard.
Right? Now, for everybody that is running, I think this is a really good field of candidates. And we all kind of have our own little niche markets, right? And I'm not going to get into a whole deep conversation about my fellow candidates, because there's a few of them, right? And they all bring something. We all bring something different. I'm the working class candidate who wears work boots every single day of my life. Sometimes I wear sneakers, not too often though. Heather,
just as a treat.
NDP MP in Edmonton. Abby Lewis, filmmaker, worked for CBC for a long time. Tony McHale, I think he's a farmer out of Ontario. Tennille Johnston, North Vancouver Island. I will say something about her.
Aww.
I didn't know, like, I knew she ran the last election. Something special about her. We talked for the first time pre-announcement for me. We talked for an hour. It was so easy to talk to her. Indigenous sister. Should have won her election by a landslide. She's like 1,000 times better than the person that won. Strong advocate for her beliefs.
Yeah, it does motivate. I think all of
Just
them do.
She's in it for the right reasons. Like, there was a question asked to all of us about, can we all speak French? Abby spoke a bit of French. Heather spoke a bit of French. My French, I didn't ever think I was going to be a politician, right? And I've tried here and there throughout my life, but just never caught on to it. But when I decided to run, I've started investing my own money into learning, and I plan on moving to Quebec for a week or two, take a submersive course.
Okay, that's a super positive thing.
And then Tennille answered. And it was probably the most amazing answer I've heard. And I'm not going to quote her, but she's learning her nation's language.
Oh, yeah.
And there's so many Indigenous language that we lose in this country. Yeah, she wants to learn French, but she also wants to learn the language of her people, right, of her nation. And that's got to say something about somebody. And she appreciated the way Francophones carried on their culture and carried on their language over the 100 plus, 150 plus, 200 years that Canada was colonized. But the way she delivered with the grace, and she was on Zoom. It's hard to deliver grace over Zoom. There's something special about it.
Is there any risk that the party stays on the track you mentioned of going to middle ground from your perspective? Or do you consider that not a risk?
I don't know this interviewer at all. Part of me wishes he would just sort of let those answers sit for a second. But yeah, we've said it before. We saw it in one of his other announcements. The sense of community and support that's happening between a lot of these leaders is so refreshing. It's so refreshing to hear. I don't know. I still like Rob Ashton. I mean, I do think that he's got some work to do as far as talking about specific issues, but just as a human, as a simple human being, he is good people. Sometimes we just need some good people. This is the video someone was asking about earlier, but I just need to show you this. Tony McQuail is very much his own type of human, and I have a lot of respect for people that have no fear in just being 100% themselves. Yeah, this is another interview he was on 5 days ago.
And we knew at that time you couldn't keep expanding material and energy use on a finite planet. And yet we still will start to feel that you don't have much of a chance, as then they start voting strategic.
I just we see people like Ave Lewis, and he has a media team and people backing him, and he's got these fancy videos and he's on all these podcasts. And then we have Tony McQuail, who is sitting in his home, work boots and his piano and his collection of books and his cake chart that he's so well known for. I don't know. I appreciate the diversity in the options that we have for the NDP leadership. I really, really do. I'm gonna play this clip again in front of his economic cake chart.
As we think about...
Ooh, this is very, very quiet, so maybe turn your headphones up.
Remembrance Day, November the 11th. I'm wearing a white poppy because the white poppy symbolizes remembering all the victims of war, not just the tragic sacrifice of soldiers, sailors, and airmen, but of all the victims of war, because modern industrial war not only affects the combatants, it takes a huge toll on the civilian populations of the countries where war is engaged in, as well as the countries that are not engaged in war.
How many phones does this man have? Mark III?
Because war and militarism divert billions and even trillions of dollars from meeting basic human needs and preparing instead for the destruction of people. And with modern nuclear warfare, and indeed the scale on which non-nuclear warfare has gained, really the destruction of humanity and the planet. And so we are in an insane situation where countries still are engaging in warfare and diverting resources from what people need and what the planet needs. So as we go into
Yeah, probably
Remembrance Day
Neuropunk.
today, I wear the white poppy, both out of respect for those who have been sacrificed on the battlefield, but also for all of those who have been sacrificed both at home and on the neighboring areas, the homes, the streets, the cities.
So the white poppy represents not just the actual soldiers in the war, but also all the civilians that are affected by war.
Of the communities in which war is happening now and has happened in the past. So let us pray and remember and figure out how we can take away the causes of war so that we are not burdened by the scourge of war and the great cost in the preparation of war, which has diverted so much from the meeting of human and environmental needs.
Not sure with the little closed eyes at the end, but yeah, I don't know. The last thing that I have just for today, so that I can go and see a mom. Again, tomorrow I want to cover the Quebec doctor situation and a couple of other things. It'll be at school tomorrow, but I found this the other day and I thought this was really interesting. Those of you, most of you probably know, but for those of you that don't, there is a, hello Mortalk, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Another leftist Canadian streamer. Hello, my name is May. I do Canadian leftist political content during the day, and I do some gaming in the evening. You might remember me from Steve Boots' lives. I was his lead mod / community manager / whatever else he needed. And yeah, and took over. He went back to teaching at the end. I was gonna say, I thought I recognized your name. He went back to teaching again at the end of August. And yeah. And I
Good lady.
Thank you for the follow. And I took over a little bit, and I'm trying this thing out. I've been doing it for 2.5-ish months, and the community stuck around. Thank you, Dr. Badstrings. Yeah, the old Discord. Yeah, there you go. The old Discord. Words are hard. The Discord changed from the Steve Boots on the Ground to the House Hippo Commons. It's still the same Discord, much the same community. And people stuck around and have been supporting and have been incredible. And we're trying it. We're doing the thing. So welcome. I'm happy to see you. I've been seeing a couple, all good, more talk. I think there's more people in there that haven't figured out. I mean, there's still 1,700 people in the Discord. And there certainly is not 1,700 people talking every day. But thank you, Neuropunk. I love you guys too. Need House Hippo t-shirts. Yeah. Sort of, kind of looking into it. Yeah, we may need to grow the community just a touch more before we get there. But yeah, that's the news around our area, and the community decided that they were going to continue to follow, and we've been slowly growing and figuring things out, and yeah, it will grow. Yeah, it has been. There's been some, I've been showing up in more of the leftist political streamers, whether from the States or from Canada, and thank you, Morgan. That is a much easier way to put it. Yeah, and sort of getting to know more people in the community, and it's been awesome. So, but yes, the last thing that I'm going to cover for today before I go and continue to be the mother that I need to be today, in Canada. Where's the Canada one? Canada. National War Memorial. Oh my goodness. Yeah, big overhead cost. Yes. Merch comes with 2,000 subs. I think. Aw, thanks, More Talk. I've been raiding into Maple Takes a couple of times over the last little while. He's been super great. I will say the community of leftist political content creators is very, very supportive of each other, which has been incredible. I think we're at 22 subscribers. So 2's at the beginning. We're getting there. Thanks, friend. I appreciate that. Yeah, and that's the thing that I've noticed too, Ninja Cupcake, is that a lot of the political content creators, even in Canada, are not covering Canadian politics. And don't get me wrong, there is stuff happening in the States that needs to be discussed. And, you know, lots of things that need to be covered, but there's so little coverage of just Canada. Yeah, that's sort of where I'm trying to go.
The North American house hippo is found throughout Canada and the eastern United States.
Thank you, Moose. Yes, there is our beloved house hippo. Anyway, in Ottawa, an incident at the Canadian Tomb. Was there an incident? Know that. Send me the link, Salmon Fry, because we'll have a longer stream tomorrow. There is in Ottawa the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and there are very specific. Oh, a few years back, yeah. There's very specific soldiers that are assigned to guarding it, and what I didn't know is the intensive process that they have to go through in order to be allowed to be the soldiers for the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. So what I'm going to do is we'll save this video, I think, for tomorrow. But I wanted to cover this just because Remembrance Day was yesterday. Just kind of putting some humanity into some of the traditions and things that we do in politics, and here's one of them. It's not a great start, but here we go. Oh, okay. I am so sorry. Let's turn our headphones down. I hope you're all awake, because goodness gracious, that was loud. Turn it down. Turn your headphones down a little bit, because this is very loud. And we'll try that again. November. Okay. Gotta learn how to use compressors and ducking. I know. There's lots of things I gotta learn, Olafin. What it takes to guard the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, Morgan.
This is the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Guarded 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. It's one of the most exclusive assignments in the Army, and one of the most difficult to attain. 19-year-old Private Joshua Beckman is about to take the uniform inspection test. It's one of 5 tests he must pass to earn the coveted Tomb Guard identification badge and officially become a Sentinel. Only 730.
Hold on. It's not Canadian. I'm sorry. Oh, man. Yeah, no, you are correct. Sorry. Yeah, you are correct. That is not.
Biscuits.
Take a lap. Alright, well. Yeah. Okay, well that's not at all embarrassing. That's okay. Still send out young folk to sacrifice themselves to the blood of children. We still copy me in the 20s. Good question, Plain Power. I think it means all good. I can explain what it means to me, and you know, I am not going to claim to have the only opinion on it. Oh my goodness. Nor am I going to claim to have the correct opinion on it. But when I was growing up, my grandfather and my uncle were both in the armed forces. And to me, the poppy just meant that I was supporting the work that they did. Granted, growing up, I did not have lots of knowledge about, you know, sorry, I'm trying to find my other playlist of music. There we go. A little bit more chill. Yes, to me it just meant supporting those that I knew that were actively in service. It was a way to symbolize that I acknowledge the sacrifices that it takes to join the army, whether that be for yourself or your own family. Yes, kiddo?
Color the background.
Sure. What color?
This color.
Teal?
Yeah. Just pretty good.
No. It's okay. We can fix it. And it was just a way to remember and acknowledge that not just and it was a way of acknowledging also not only my grandfather and my uncle, but also my grandmother and my aunt, who spent a lot of their lives doing things on their own. Okay, friends, I have used up all of my kiddo patience time. Mood ring is moody. Yeah. I'm going to call it for today. Let's find you somebody. Thank you everyone for being here, by the way. This is like the most people I think I've had on a stream in a very long time. So thank you for everyone that's here. I so appreciate every one of you being here, and for the follows and the subs and all of the wonderful things that you guys do to support. Thanks, Neuropunk. Tomorrow I'm home. Necrotic, hello! Tomorrow I'm home. Kiddos at school. Yes, Dr. Bastrings, that is something that this community is very good at. It's part of the reason that I love this community as much as I do. Just some really solid people. Let's raid you out to... Let's raid you out to the serfs. Yes. Yeah, Kiddo's just not feeling well. That's the main... Yeah, I'm glad you were here too. Most likely see you tonight. Yes, most likely. Thanks for being here. When you go into the serfs... Oh, it didn't even go, did it? No, it did not. Hold on. 1 sec. You guys can post this in the serfs chat. That would be so awesome. Thank you to all 31 of you that are here. Oh my goodness. I'm so honored that you chose to spend some of your time here with us today. I appreciate you all. Hopefully tomorrow we can have a bit of a longer chat, but thank you, Salmon Fry. I appreciate that. If you can post that message into the chat in the serfs, that helps let people know who I am, lets people know where we're coming from, and yeah. Have a wonderful rest of your... Thank you
More
for the
Talk
bits.
cheered 200 bits.
Thank you, friend. I will chat with you all tomorrow. Have a lovely evening. And we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, friends. Love you.